and welcome back to episode 2 of my perspective on Nuzlocke 7. This is post-commentary recorded on Friday, September 13, 2017. Last time, we were speaking about the more serious topic podcast on the media and the Philosopher's Stone. Both of them are really good. On the media speaks about recent news topics. Philosopher's Stone speaks about philosophy and the human psyche. Both very good. The other one, this is a bit broader. This does different things each episode, I believe. It seems like it anyway. Reply All. I only listened to 2 episodes, but it seems to be very different. It's fascinating that, and it's topics that I really enjoyed, like both of them. It is cool. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. The first one was a bit more just not exactly Q&A, but a listener had a question about an old Flash game that they couldn't find in 2017. It was probably over 10 years ago, and they were looking for it and then they couldn't find it, so they asked the staff at Reply All, could you help me find it again? Because I couldn't even figure out who the creator was and like why it doesn't exist anymore. And that ended up being a really interesting backstory into why the game isn't there online anymore and why it's so dark and hidden about who actually made it. It's a fascinating story. And actually, we're able to find that old Flash game and the developers and get it mirrored on their site, which was really fascinating. It's a cool Flash game too. I recommend it. The second episode was a completely different thing, where they had 2 of the staff and one of their friends that wasn't really into the internet, or they didn't have a whole lot of insider knowledge into it, and so the basics of it is, he has a thing on social media or just the internet in general that he doesn't understand, and he asks, what is this all about? And they explain it to him, and then he tries to tell his own words, and that way it might be things that you don't even understand, and you can get some knowledge about it without feeling like, some people feel guilty about it, like asking if like people will think they're dumb for not knowing. And it's a cool way of like learning things that you might not know. It's cool. It's like you get both those perspectives of the one insider and the outsider. It's fascinating. That's Reply All. Reply All. That is the one. Oh gosh, there are more. There are more. Let me take a look to make sure I don't skip anything. One moment. Oh, one is very cool. It's called 99% Invisible. And sometimes the format of the show is a bit confusing to me. But sometimes I think it's their own produced stuff about things that the media or the world in general doesn't pay a lot of attention to that maybe we should. And sometimes I think they just grab some very insightful stories or products that didn't get a lot of attention, and that this is like their way of giving it attention. It's basically a retweet, but in podcast form. It's very cool. And they have a whole lot of topics, like, without a doubt, one of the most diverse, one of the more diverse podcasts out there. One I don't really know if I would want to recommend, but I'm just going to say the name and it's up to you. It's called The Parapod, with basically just 2 friends. I draw comparisons to the Ricky Gervais show. Basically, you have one that is a bit off, and then that tries to find out and argue for these different conspiracies. And there's the other one, which is just a bit normal, like one of the crowd that tries to be the voice of reason. It's cool, but it can get a bit like inside jokey. I found it hard to get into, but it was some very fun stuff in there, so you might find that enjoyable. You Are Not So Smart. It's sometimes a bit hard to get into, but I would also recommend that. It's basically listen to this and figure out maybe you're not actually that smart as you think, because there's a lot of stuff in the world that you probably don't know about. I would recommend You Are Not So Smart. I'm trying to be a bit fast because I haven't listened to a whole lot about this podcast, so I'm trying to be quick about it. Something True is amazing. That might be the one podcast I would recommend of all. It's very short, 15 to 20 minute short stories from history, from the real world, about something fascinating that happened. That it's incredible that people haven't done more with a story, because it's so cool. It's only 8 episodes so far, but each episode is just like a blast to listen to. I wish there was more. It's a really good narrator. There's a great way they like write out, or the way they tell their story. Yeah, it's such a good thing. I recommend it a whole lot. The first one is about the dog of a president and what hijinks he gets into. It's very good. This one is hard for me to recommend. I enjoyed some of it. It's called Delete Your Account. It's very political sometimes. And, you know, they have a little bit of highbrow style conversation, using a lot of fancy words that I don't understand, maybe because English is my second language. So it's sometimes very hard to get into and understand, but they bring up a lot of fascinating topics. Very insightful conversation and discussion. But it's good. I found it hard to get into. What else? What else is there? I guess I could go into the more of the comedy stuff that I didn't recommend last time. Because I did find some more since last time. The 1099. Basically just someone interviewing different personalities and minds of the gaming industry. Very good. Hollywood Handbook. Really good. It's a different style of humor that I'm used to, but I think it's very funny. All of the jokes don't hit. Sometimes it's a bit harsh. And maybe a bit controversial. But mostly it's good. I find it very enjoyable. I haven't listened to it a whole lot recently though. Waypoint Radio might recommend it as a gaming podcast. It's good. Sometimes get very political, but it's still fun. They're doing a series called Waypoint 101, which is basically like a book club for video games. So they play a section of a game, then they talk about it, then they play the next section and talk about it. It's cool. They don't do it that often though. I wish it was happening more often. The EC Allies podcast, just weekly gaming discussions, very good. They have like small games and different sections which spice things up. That's basically my biggest inspiration for the Get On Point podcast that I do with Quill and Americ and Ben and now Dibs. But yeah, that's definitely my biggest inspiration, because it feels like a lot of creativity has been put into it, into making the show format interesting, and they have great personalities as well. Other than that, I don't think I found too much new stuff. So I think I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I have a lot of podcasts to listen to now because I have a big list. But I really enjoy it. It's good. Very good. So now what are we doing here at the surface? Oh, the double kill. The fairy and Frost both got a kill. It's a very exciting second episode. Well done, you two. Imagine it was very close. That's very cool. Yeah, fairy type is now available, which means so if you die with a type, someone else can take it. So you can't have multiple of one type. So one of them was fairy type. It might have been fairy. Who knows? But I'm sure that was fascinating. Give that a watch, whatever that is. I still don't know at the time of recording. I'm sure it was cool. Oh yeah, I guess I could talk about some of the stories I've been reading. As an ebook on my phone, I'm currently reading The Martian. I might be talking about this at some other point. I feel like I've talked about it. The Martian is very good. There's a movie version, which is also very good. That's probably the preferred way to do it, but I never saw the movie, so I thought I'd give the book a try. The book is very good. It's a really good sense of humor. It knows when to when to be humorous and when to be serious. I enjoy it. It has enough comedy, enough tragedy to make it fun. A lot of sarcasm, a lot of technical know-how, a lot of pseudoscience. It's good. It's very good. And as for some real book, it's a bad way to say a physical book. That's the preferred way to. Hey, bed. I think I'm going for the cake next. I also have started reading. I really want to try and read some of the classic novels and literature. I feel like I'm losing out on a lot of gosh, what would you call it? A lot of culture. I can't really find the term for it, but basically just have the prerequisite for cultural references. Oh gosh, I took damage. No, so much damage. Being bad. I really want that leather and the food. I made mistakes. I made a few. Anyhow. I started reading 1984. I actually have it right by me. I borrowed it from the library. George Orwell's 1984, which I think might be his most famous piece. I think he also did, what's it called? Animal Farm? Is the other one that he's known for. But I wanted to give 1984 a shot first. No, Animal Farm might be someone else. I'm not sure. Anyway, 1984 takes on a future of, you probably heard the Big Brother terminology. There's a Big Brother watching over you. Basically, the government is surveying your every move and how it is to live in that kind of society. If the government has a lot more control, then we have, there's a trend in that society when he wrote it. That became a concern. A bit of conspiracy theory in that, I suppose, but it was definitely a concern. And I haven't gotten that far into it, but I didn't expect it to be so upfront about what it was about. I thought it would be a bit more conspiracy in it, like it was a slow reveal. But you're just in this world. Everyone has become familiar with it. I did not expect, but it's cool so far. I like its writing style. I'm sure there's a lot more to it that I'm not at all familiar with. But hopefully I will finish it shortly. I just haven't had a lot of time to read lately, unfortunately. And I've also been reading some online things as well. Gosh, what was that I read last? I don't remember. Oh yeah, there was one thing. Okay, this is a bit weird to talk about in all honesty, but I guess I will. I guess I just better own up to it, because I do feel a little bit embarrassed about reading it, but it's actually really well written. And that is Fallout Equestria. And you might think, wait, Fallout with horses? What is this? I don't know about this. Well, you have reason to be concerned, I suppose. So the thing is, am I doing this right? Yeah, cake. Awesome. So some of you might know MG or Nahi, someone who was, I suppose was, in the community for a good long while, since a long time ago. And I was recommended some online writing online stories that were apparently very good. And one of them is a story that combines the Fallout universe and the My Little Pony universe. I was like, I have not seen anything My Little Pony related, so I don't know if this is gonna be for me. But MG said that it's so well written that you don't really need to know anything about either universe to enjoy it. I feel that's basically true. Like having some of the Fallout knowledge makes some of the jokes and references funnier. But I think it's really well written, and I kind of ignore all the My Little Pony parts and just make it more a Fallout story. And just as a Fallout story, I really enjoy what it does. It's basically Fallout with magic, and it's pretty good. If there was just like a fan fiction with the Fallout universe, where you also had magic powers, that's basically what I enjoy about this story. It's very long though, so I don't know the end of it. It might turn out to be absolutely terrible at the end. Who knows? But it's good so far. I've also been reading some manga. I feel like I've talked about this, maybe in the Save Swappers episode. I probably won't repeat that. I'm just gonna say that. Gosh, is it Lookism? Lookism is still very good. It doesn't update. That English translation doesn't update often, so I haven't been able to read much more. But I'm at the current, and that's something that I'm not used to because I usually wait until the series is done before I start watching, reading, or anything like that. It's strange to do it this way. Let's just wait. It's not something I'm used to, but that's okay. And then there's one that I only know as Tanaka-kun, something like that. Just a cute, like, school falling in love story. It's pretty funny. And it's cute at times. It's very, like, emotional at times. It's very good. Other than that, even though I work in the cinema, I haven't actually watched any movies recently, which I feel bad about. I want to see Al Gore's newest documentary. Is it a More Inconvenient Truth? I don't remember what it was. It's basically the follow-up to An Inconvenient Truth, however. And I didn't get to see that yet, unfortunately. Hopefully sometime I will get to that. I also want to see Blade Runner. But it's just, my life is too busy at the moment to take 3 hours out of the day to watch a movie, unfortunately. But so that's that. And you can see more types I've been taking, which is good. I believe I fulfilled all my normal requirements, but someone else took it. Oh, how could it be? So yeah, I basically have to wait until that person is down. Oh, and that was not that. But David Hand / Sugar Puffs is down. Or just Daniel. I mean, I guess Daniel. Maybe the better way to say his name nowadays. I don't know. Anyway. Tibbs or Tyler. That's fine. Thank you. I think the latest movie I watched was... Well, actually, there's one thing I did watch. Completely passed my mind. I started watching Planet Earth 2, the sequel to Planet Earth, which is a documentary about... I guess the second one is less about the current state of the world and its nature and its different parts. And more about how humans are affecting it. I guess infecting it could be good too. Basically, how we are causing a lot of changes in biology, and how the world and the animal lifestyle works. I don't have habitat. We're changing a lot of habitats. We're making them inhabitable for a lot of species. And it speaks a lot more about climate change.